The last smile of Karla Faye Tucker. The room was silent, except for the faint hum of machinery. Strapped to a gurney, Karla Faye Tucker looked strangely calm. Outside the prison walls, protesters held candles, chanting prayers for her life. Inside, officials watched with practiced attachment, but even they sensed something different in the air that night. When the lethal injection entered her veins, Karla did not struggle, nor did she cry. Instead, she closed her eyes with a smile so serene that it unsettled those who had witnessed countless executions before. Moments later, the physician checked her pulse and whispered words that would linger in memory. I have never seen such a peaceful death before. This was not just the death of a convicted murderer. It was a conclusion of one of the most extraordinary journeys of transformation and redemption in modern American history. Karla's story forces us to confront unsettling questions. Can a person truly change? Does redemption erase guilt? And when justice demands death, should mercy have a voice? 1306, September 17th, 2025, Wahid Ahmed. Every society faces eternal tension between justice and mercy. Justice demands accountability for wrongdoing, while mercy acknowledges the possibility of transformation and forgiveness. Rarely do these two forces collide as powerfully as they did in the case of Karla Faye Tucker, a convicted murderer who became a preacher behind prison walls, a woman who transformed from violence to peace, and whose execution in Texas in 1998 ignited one of the most emotional debates in modern American history. Her story is not only about crime and punishment, but also about redemption, faith, and the uncomfortable question: can a person who has genuinely changed still deserve to die? A childhood in shadows. Karla was born into a world already steeped in brokenness. Her mother was a prostitute, and from her earliest years, Karla was exposed to drugs, immorality, and chaos. By adolescence, she was addicted to narcotics and drifting aimlessly into the same destructive lifestyle she had seen at home. By her late 20s, seeking a way out but unable to escape the grip of poor choices, she and her boyfriend planned a carjacking. When their victims resisted, panic and violence overtook them. 2 innocent people were brutally murdered. Within days, Karla and her accomplice were arrested, tried, and sentenced to death. A prison transformation. In prison, Karla was initially just another angry inmate, foul-mouthed, addicted, and hardened. Yet over time, something unexpected happened. She began to read the Bible. Slowly, she abandoned her addictions, softened her speech, and embraced faith with sincerity. Her personal change soon blossomed into a public mission. She began preaching inside the prison, sharing her story of repentance. Hardened criminals were moved to tears. Fellow inmates testified that her words carried a rare spiritual power. Prison staff described her as no longer the same woman who had entered those walls years earlier. America takes notice. News of Karla's transformation spread beyond the prison gates. The media seized her story, and soon she was on front pages across the country. Human rights groups launched the Save Karla campaign, urging clemency. Vigils and protests filled the streets. The movement gained such momentum that Pope John Paul II himself petitioned the authorities for mercy. 15 days before her scheduled execution, she appeared in a televised interview with Larry King on CNN. When asked if she feared death, her calm reply struck the nation. "No, I look forward to meeting the Lord, who has completely changed my life." To many, it was no longer possible to see her as the same woman who had once committed murder. Justice, mercy, and the law. Despite the emotional appeals, the law stood firm. The Texas border pardons and paroles rejected clemency. Crowds gathered outside Governor George W. Bush's residence, demanding intervention. Even Reverend Jesse Jackson, one of America's most influential pastors, joined the call. Yet Bush remained resolute. I sympathize with Karla, and I respect Reverend Jackson, but I was elected to uphold the law, not to set aside. Even if she were an angel, the punishment for murder cannot be waived. Her final appeal reached the U.S. Supreme Court, but it too was denied. One judge concluded, even if the whole world believes this woman is now a saint, American law offers no relief. The woman who showed no mercy while killing cannot now be granted mercy by any earthly court. The final smile. On the day of her execution, Karla Faye Tucker met death with serenity. Witnesses watched in awe as she closed her eyes and smiled, as if stepping into peace. The attending doctor, visibly moved, said, "I have never seen such a peaceful death before." A lasting question. Karla's life and death left behind a question larger than her story. Should redemption matter in the face of justice? Her transformation was real, her repentance undeniable, and her influence inside the prison profound. Yet the law demanded accountability for the two innocent lives she had taken. Perhaps the heart of the matter lies in the timeless wisdom of Hazrat Ali. Yes. Societies can survive with disbelief, but they cannot survive with injustice. In Karla Faye Tucker's case, America chose justice over mercy. Whether that decision was right or wrong remains a matter of conscience. But her final smile reminds us that redemption, even at the threshold of death, is always possible.